Oh, man. So walk good actually comes from a Jamaican euphemism. So my grandmother, she's from Jamaica, from a tiny little town called Mandeville in Chantilly. Yeah. And she would always remind me to walk good. And that means to take care of yourself, be good to yourself when you're out there in the world, and just make sure you come back home. Right. And Walk Good always stuck with me. So I started out as my production company. So it was Walk Good Productions. I was directing under that moniker. Right. And then COVID happened. And then Ahmaud Arbery happened. And then George Floyd happened. Yeah. And then Breonna Taylor happened. And the countless lives, black lives that were taken from us at the hands of racial injustice happened on what seemed to be a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it was like every damn freaking week.
Literally every day.
We're going through a tragedy, yes.
And so I remember, like, in the beginning when Ahmaud Arbery passed away, when Ahmaud Arbery was killed, when he was killed, I remember seeing that video. And we all saw the video, right? And we were in, like, this limbo, not knowing if we should take the streets or not take the streets. And then George Floyd happened, and then everybody said, you know what, forget it. Let's take the streets, right? And I remember participating in protests and being inspired, and I also felt like I could do it too. Actually, funny enough, my first protest during that time was right here coming down Hollywood Boulevard. Okay. And I say this too, like, my relationship to LA has changed having walked these pavements, having walked
seeing
these
the people and feeling the energy. Yes.
And so I was inspired to start my own movement, and that was Walk Good LA. And so I got a bunch of my friends and family. I made this flyer on my phone, and I sent it to as many people as I could in my contact list. And I said, yo, meet me at this park. We met at LA High Memorial Park, which is the park down the street from my mom's house. And it was a park that I grew up in. Correct. And I was like, you know, we're gonna take the streets. But I felt like there was one thing that was missing, and that was like just a collective moment for us to like breathe and do some stretches before we get out there and take the streets. Okay. And my cousin Marley, she just got let go from a yoga studio, and I was like, Marley, mind if you just like get us into some stretches, let's get loose. Yeah. And so she did it, and we had like a sea of people, just black people, brown people, people from all different colors, backgrounds, just collectively breathing and stretching and doing these yoga poses. And I was like, you know what? We should do this like every week. So we would protest on Saturday, and then we do the yoga at that same park in the morning on Sunday. And so we did the protest 10 weeks straight. And then the yoga classes started to grow as we were starting to do the protests. Wow. And the protests started to, you know, lessen, you know, here and there.
But the yoga
kept going up. And I was like, all right, this is what our community needs right here, right now. And so that's when we started Breathe Good. And so Breathe Good is our weekly yoga class that we have at Kenneth Hahn Park now in Baldwin Hills, that we have every Sunday.
Can people just show up?
Yes, people can show up. They can RSVP at walkgoodla.org.
What time?
Every Sunday at 10 o'clock in Baldwin Hills. We're there breathing and stretching, and everybody's welcome. You know, a lot of people's like, I can't get down into those poses. I'm like, y'all, it's not about the poses. Right. It's about the breath.
It's about the breath.
And it's about the ability to get your body into those positions. But it's not, that's just one, movement is just one pose. One of the poses is just one of the limbs of yoga. You know, a lot of people don't know that. Okay. You know, where that's just a small part of the yoga
whole
practice,
thing.
Right?
Yeah, because I was intimidated as well. I can be honest. The first time I went to a yoga class, it was just me and another guy, and I was like, man, I can't do this shit. And there was so many women in there that were so limber that you felt like a brick, like, you know, just. You know, this here.
And on top of that, were you the only black person in there?
Yes.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So with Walk Good, we're changing that. You know, we are literally revolutionizing how we view healing in the black community, because it's nothing but black people. It's nothing but people of color in there just breathing in nature. This is an experience that a lot of us never had growing up. Bro, I sure as heck didn't.
I'll tell you an experience that I did the other day. I don't know how I got wind of this idea on how we should take off our shoes
and get grounded,
with the grass and the earth, right? So the other day I was working out and outside in the yard by the pool or whatever, and I was just doing a lot of stuff. So I took off my shoes and I just walked the grass while I was breathing.
And it felt good.
It was crazy. I was like, "Am I imagining? Is this shit real, or is it doing something to my spirit?" I didn't know what was going on,
and it
but
was. It was charging you up. It was charging you up. Like imagine, like think about it.
I didn't know that shit worked.
Before you go to bed, you charge your phone, right?
Correct.
But when you woke up in the morning, did you remind yourself to charge your body?
Yeah.
That's what it did.
That's what it did.
That's
like
exactly
I literally walked. I literally did my walk like through the yard with my feet, you know, and I felt the grass, and it was just a deep feeling of like I can't even express it, because very rare do I take off my shoes to walk on the ground like that.
And a lot of us brothers, we afraid to take off our socks because we afraid to let our
like,
toes out.
I had a pedicure at 18 years. It's gonna look like Frankenstein. I'm gonna scare every squirrel in here. Yo.
But it's important, man, just to be vulnerable
Correct.
in that space with yourself, right? If you can't be vulnerable with yourself, who else can you be vulnerable with?
Absolutely.
You know, and so like having those moments of gratitude, of moments where you can just be with yourself and just ground down, that's important, man. It sets you up for your day. And we introduce our community to their healing journey just by doing those little things. And hopefully it's the start of something that will be able to change their life like it changed mine.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things we discovered on Top Billing, and every now and then it will come up in an interview, is about mental health. And it is an issue that's overlooked. It is something that permeates in most families. Most people deal with it in different variations. But just being aware of your mental health, like you said, breathing, you know, coming off all that tension sometimes, you know, recharging, all the things that you said so far is so important to black men. You know what I mean? Because we never I feel like black men are afraid to say, I'm going through a tough time, or, you know, man, I don't have an answer, man. You know, I can't take care of my family, or I don't know how to do this for my kid. Like, you know, I feel black men need to open up and be vulnerable. How do we help each other in that way?
We have to just be honest with ourselves, right? And keep our circles tight, right? Be around the people who actually support you, uplift you, and are able to listen and have just a shoulder for you to lean on in those moments of vulnerability, right? Because a lot of the time we just scared to just share what we feeling, because out of just sheer embarrassment, you know, because you're like,
I'm gonna be soft, like I can't say that, you know, I'm feeling crazy right now. You know, I don't know where my life is, or I want to do this more, and I'm not. I didn't get the job. What's my value? Like, guys have these thoughts continuously, but I never hear them say. I never had one of my friends say, "Yo, man, call me tomorrow and check on me."
Yeah, no, I always make sure.
I just go but a gut.
Yeah.
I say, hey, man, I call to see you good. Oh, man, damn, B, I appreciate that, man.
And you didn't even realize they needed you in that moment.